people who are, uh, how do I put this? Some people who are self-proclaimed in the journey of spirituality, or who read spiritual uh, texts or follow spiritual masters, they tend to look down upon other people, or they consider others lesser, or themselves elevated in this journey of life. Why does that happen? And I wanted to understand what is the spiritual journey, what is spirituality, and from all these days of sessions, I felt, or my understanding has been that through this journey and your sharing about your different spiritual masters, is that ultimately they are embodiments of love and compassion. If that is the case, then why do why does such a thing happen? That is my question. What is spirituality, and what, uh, I'm just gone back to the. I hope you understood what I'm asking.
Spirituality means the deep knowing, nothing else. There's no mystery around spirituality. Spirituality simply means deep knowing. So one has to, if one is interested in deep knowing, he can focus his attention on things which he is interested. Then in spirituality, the deep knowing is redirected to oneself, to know oneself. Because with this mind, we are trying to understand the world. We are trying to know the world. So if you go around and trying to understand the world, there is no end to it. Multitude of informations, so much things that with this limited time, we may not be able to understand everything. So in spirituality, it is proposed by people who have understood it that one has to study the instrument of knowing, not the subjects which are outside. He wanted to know deeply. So from studying the world to the study of the instrument with which you study the world. So that is the reason why one is turning back to look into his mind. And so when a person starts to look into oneself, you're actually going a little bit deeper to yourself. From the outside, you're turning back to your inside. When you started to look at that, that is the first step actually. When you start to look in this way, whatever other people are thinking doesn't matter at all. People may be thinking that they are big, they are great people, they knew everything. It is none of your business. Your business is to study yourself, your own mind. So if people who are around us, they proclaim that they are great leaders or great masters or they know everything, doesn't come under the purview of our study. Our study is to study our instrument with which we are understanding the world. So forget about all those things. If we are really looking into spiritual understanding, we are not very concerned about what other people are boasting about themselves. That is not at all our subject. Let them do it. It is they are interested in doing it. Let them continue that kind of life. And what are the benefits that they are going to get out of that, they will get. What are the troubles they are going to get out of that, they will get. It's none of our business. Our business is, in this respect, why I feel like this. What makes me troubled when a person is really showing something that he is big? Where I'm getting affected by that. And when you started to look into it, you are really studying deeply about yourself. The other matter is not at all important for a person who is intending to study deeply. The deep study about oneself. We cannot have any control over anybody in this world. Why they are thinking in a particular way, they should work and they should understand. It's none of our business to understand that. So we are turning back to ourselves and deeply looking why I get some disturbance from the behavior of the world around me. That's what one person is, a spiritual person is looking. And this study, he deepens. A lot of answers will come, a lot of doubts will come. Again, the exploration continue. And the exploration will lead the person to go deeper and deeper about every little thing that is happening inside. And so you will understand the mechanism of your mind and how the mind is working in different situations. What are the system which is working in your mind to create all these things and giving you joy and suffering. So the person is deeply looking from his mental level to a little deeper level about his own intellect. Then he is going further deeper into his own ego, how it is working. And then the answers will be there. If a person is boasting himself, why I get affected? Where I'm getting sad? It is his business. Why I take this from him? There are many people, they are pretending quite a lot. What is my problem with that? There was a story of Buddha. Somebody is coming and really abusing him with a lot of bad words. And he was pleasantly staying with his disciples and exposed to this particular person who was abusing him. But he has not shown any kind of special arrogance or aggressivity or anything back to the person. The person got a little surprised. He is habituated in teaching people like this. So he got a little surprised that this person is calm and he is not reacting. So he got surprised and he asked, why are you not getting upset about my behavior? So he said, suppose you are coming with few apples and offering to me, and if I am not taking the apple, where will it be? It will be with the person who is offering it. So it is in spirituality, our question is to study ourselves. No other thing is interesting for the person who is interested in so-called the word spirituality. So slowly we get into the study of our mind, the behavior of our mind, and the intellectual program which the mind is doing, discrimination, making judgments, then the suffering person inside oneself, there is a person who is suffering all the time, receiving informations, making judgments, suffering. Very rarely only the person enjoys. So what's the cause of the suffering? What's the cause of my enjoyment? What is the mechanics behind that? And then you understand that, okay, it is the discriminative intelligence which is working in me. Show me this is good, that I feel good. I feel happy. When it shows that what I'm doing is bad, then I feel sad. And so this is the mechanism, okay. So you slowly master your mechanism. And then From there, you will go much more deeper into your study, that you will understand that when you understood something, you feel really happy and proud about yourself. And then you started to believe that this is me. And when a person understands that this is me, there is a pressure to communicate all these things, because in a way, it may give some happiness or joy to somebody. But it adds some feather in the crown of the person, because he started to feel that I know this. Certainly he knows it. It doesn't mean that the world should recognize that person. It is very difficult for the world to recognize a person and accept a person. We have seen great masters were never recognized. Even Jesus, being a great master, was crucified. How could the world do that? They didn't understand who he was. He was saying that also. You have not understood me. So the identification takes place with the knowledge which is understood by the person. And this identification boosts up something in the person, pride, ego, and all these things. And when a person is holding that I, and if that I is not recognized by the society, you feel sad, you feel bad. And the suffering comes. So as you are studying the whole mechanism, you will understand this is a system which is working in this area, constantly working in this area. And when you are looking at it and studying it, then you will not be affected the way you were affected sometime before. Every small thing you may get very affected, but there will come a time when you are stable in the sense you have mastered the mechanism of your mind. You will understand that, okay, this is the work, this particular work is doing this, so I will look at it. And you get disconnected from the things. And then you start to get a mastery over your mind, and you feel fine with that. When a person is studying deeply about himself, he can be called as a spiritual person. A person who is doing that and mastered himself will never show pride or egoistic trips, because that is not his area of operation. He is not interested in that at all.
Sir, I have a question. What you said, I have, the reason I came up with this question was also because this question was in my head, and very dear friend of mine mentioned that she suffered something called a spiritual bullying. And that's when I felt that, okay, this is something that must have been happening to many. And of course, the solution, what you have offered for me, is for me to look inside. But one question I wanted to know is that when some people, they start off feeling very grounded and uh, feeling that, okay, the same divine is in me and you, and they look at oneself and with the person around with compassion. But at what point are they, or how is this slipping into that other phase happening where they suddenly elevate themselves to be better than people around, or they suddenly elevate themselves with the concept that they are living in a better way than people around? Like, how does that slipping happen? And if it happens to one, like, why does that happen?
Because they are not settled in their work. They have not understood. They have been pretending. They have not understood. That has become their habit. And so this habit pops up in between. Bullying and spirituality never goes together. Because they are not settled. They have understood something and they started to feel that they are really developed. That's okay for that person. But if it is affecting me, why it is affecting me? And that needs to be understood by me, because nobody will do it for me. So I have to understand why this bullying is. I'm feeling I'm subjected to this bullying. So you can see that you may have a lot of ideas or understanding, and that doesn't go with this understanding which is projected by the person, and you started to feel the other person is very egoistic. And then the question is whether I am egoistic or not. So finally you will understand that it is two egoistic people fighting between each other, one is accusing the other one. And everything we will understand when we are really looking. Take time to look at it. The answers are there. Everything is explicitly expressed. It takes a little time for us to get into that composure to understand what my mind is doing. And we cannot change anybody. We can only understand the unsettled part of our mind and try to settle it. That's the main work which a person has to do. And that kind of a work could be called as a spiritual work, because this work is for deep knowing about oneself. Spirituality means deep knowing. Okay, we conclude.
Okay, thank you.
Thank